Imagine a life where your thoughts shape your reality, where every moment is filled with clarity, purpose, and inner peace. In Buddhism, positive thinking is more than just optimism, it's a transformative practice that rewires the mind for true happiness and resilience. By embracing ancient wisdom, we learn to cultivate joy, compassion, and mental strength, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with a calm and steady mind. Join us on this journey to discover how Buddhist teachings can unlock the power of positive thinking and lead to a more fulfilling, peaceful life. Buddhism teaches that our thoughts shape our reality. The way we perceive the world determines how we experience it, and our mind is the key to unlocking true happiness. But what does positive thinking truly mean in a Buddhist context? It's not about forcing ourselves to be happy all the time or ignoring difficulties. Instead, it's about training the mind to see reality with clarity, free from attachment or aversion, while cultivating an inner state of peace and contentment. At the heart of this practice is the understanding of karma and mental conditioning. Every thought we entertain plants a seed in our consciousness, eventually influencing our emotions and actions. If we constantly dwell on negativity, resentment, or fear, these mental states become habitual. However, if we intentionally nurture gratitude, compassion, and wisdom, our minds will naturally incline toward positivity. The Buddha emphasized the importance of right thought, one of the key elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right thought encourages us to direct our minds toward kindness, selflessness, and wisdom. When we let go of self-centered worries and embrace a broader perspective, we begin to see the world not as a place filled with obstacles but as a space of interconnectedness and limitless potential. One of the most powerful ways to lay the foundation for positive thinking is through mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to become aware of our mental patterns and gently redirect them. Instead of being trapped in cycles of worry or negativity, we learn to observe our thoughts as they arise and let them go, choosing to focus on those that uplift and support us. Meditation, or bhavana, mental cultivation, is another essential practice in developing a positive mindset. One particularly effective form is metta bhavana, or loving-kindness meditation. This practice trains the mind to generate goodwill toward oneself and others, replacing negative emotions with feelings of warmth and compassion. This does not mean ignoring life's difficulties. Instead, it allows us to approach challenges with a balanced and kind mind rather than reacting with fear or frustration. When we cultivate loving-kindness, we shift our mental state from one of resistance to one of acceptance and harmony. A simple yet profound Buddhist teaching states, "With our thoughts, we make the world." This means that if we nurture a mind filled with gratitude, patience, and wisdom, we create a life that reflects these qualities. While the external world may be unpredictable, our inner world remains within our control. One of the most transformative aspects of Buddhist positive thinking is learning to see difficulties as opportunities for growth. Challenges are inevitable, but our response to them determines their impact on our well-being. Instead of resisting or fearing change, we can train ourselves to accept it with openness. When we embrace impermanence and understand that struggles are temporary, we develop resilience. This shift in perspective allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and confidence. By developing awareness, practicing gratitude, and consciously choosing thoughts that lead to peace and kindness, we reshape our experience of life itself. True positive thinking in Buddhism is not about denying reality but about seeing it clearly and responding skillfully. Mindfulness is the foundation of positive thinking in Buddhism. Known as sati, it is the practice of being fully present, seeing reality as it is without being controlled by negative emotions or automatic reactions. But how does mindfulness help cultivate a positive mindset? The answer lies in awareness. Most suffering comes from the mind's tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. We replay regrets, hold on to grievances, and anticipate problems that may never come. These patterns reinforce negativity, clouding our perception of the present moment. Mindfulness breaks this cycle by anchoring our attention in the here and now, allowing us to experience life with clarity and peace. A simple yet powerful way to practice mindfulness is breath awareness, anapanasati. By focusing on each inhale and exhale, we train the mind to stay present. Whenever negative thoughts arise, self-doubt, anger, or worry, we gently return to the breath, preventing these emotions from taking control. Another essential practice is observing thoughts without attachment. The Buddha compared the mind to the vast sky and thoughts to passing clouds. If we learn to watch them come and go without identifying with them, we free ourselves from their grip. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," we shift to, "Anxiety is arising." This shift reduces the power of negative emotions, creating space for a more balanced state of mind. Mindfulness also cultivates gratitude and appreciation. The simple joys of life, a meal, a conversation, the warmth of sunlight, often go unnoticed. But when we bring awareness to these experiences, we develop a natural sense of contentment. The more we train our minds to recognize what is good, the more naturally positivity arises. One of the most profound effects of mindfulness is its ability to disrupt automatic negative thinking. Instead of reacting impulsively in difficult situations, we pause, breathe, and observe. This moment of awareness gives us the freedom to respond wisely rather than emotionally. Buddhism teaches that what we focus on grows. If we feed thoughts of anger, envy, or despair, they strengthen. But if we nurture thoughts of kindness, patience, and gratitude, they flourish. Through mindfulness, we make this shift deliberately, transforming the mind from an enemy into an ally. We can include mindfulness into daily life, whether through meditation, mindful walking, or simply paying attention to our thoughts. We create the conditions for a calm, resilient, and positive mindset. It is not about forcing positivity, but about seeing clearly and choosing thoughts that lead to inner peace and joy. True positive thinking in Buddhism is not just about personal happiness, it is about developing a mind that radiates kindness and compassion. A truly positive mindset is deeply connected to metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, which not only transform our own minds but also impact those around us. Loving kindness is the practice of wishing well for all beings, including ourselves. It dissolves resentment, anger, and judgment, replacing them with warmth and goodwill. The Buddha taught that a mind filled with loving kindness is like a lamp, it shines on all without discrimination. When we cultivate metta, we naturally develop a more positive and peaceful outlook, because our hearts are free from hostility. Compassion, on the other hand, is the ability to recognize suffering and respond with care. Many believe compassion means absorbing others' burdens, but Buddhism teaches that true compassion arises from wisdom. It sees suffering clearly and responds with kindness, without being overwhelmed by it. One of the most powerful practices for cultivating compassion is metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. This meditation involves silently repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering." We begin with ourselves, then extend these wishes to loved ones, strangers, and even those who have wronged us. Over time, this rewires the brain, making kindness our natural response rather than negativity. Neuroscience confirms that regular metta meditation reduces stress, increases positive emotions, and enhances well-being. Compassion is also essential for overcoming negative self-talk. Many of us are kinder to others than we are to ourselves. Buddhism teaches that, just as we wish happiness for others, we must also offer kindness to ourselves. Self-compassion is not self-indulgence, it is the foundation of a stable, positive mind. When we forgive our mistakes and treat ourselves with gentleness, we create space for growth and joy. The Dalai Lama famously said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This reveals a deep truth: happiness is not about seeking pleasure but about cultivating connection. When we focus on bringing joy to others, we naturally cultivate it within ourselves. Compassion also dissolves barriers between ourselves and others. Instead of feeling threatened by someone else's success, we rejoice in it. Instead of reacting to negativity with anger, we meet it with understanding. This shift creates a life filled with genuine positivity, not forced optimism, but lasting peace and joy. By making compassion and loving kindness daily practices, we transform not only our own mindset but also the world around us. A mind full of metta is a mind at peace, and from this peace arises the unshakable positivity that Buddhism teaches. Negative emotions are a natural part of being human, but Buddhism teaches that we are not controlled by them. Instead of suppressing, resisting, or being overwhelmed by negativity, we can learn to transform it skillfully. The first step is recognizing that thoughts are not reality. We often believe everything our mind tells us, but thoughts are simply passing mental events, like clouds in the sky. They do not define us. When we realize this, we can observe negative thoughts without being consumed by them. A powerful Buddhist practice for transforming negativity is vipassana meditation, insight meditation. Instead of resisting difficult emotions, we sit with them, observe them, and investigate their nature. If anger arises, we ask, where do I feel this in my body? What thoughts are fueling it? Is it permanent? Looking deeply, we see that emotions rise and fall, and they are not as solid as they seem. Another key practice is non-attachment. Much suffering comes from clinging to emotions as if they were absolute. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, including our mental states. When we shift from, I am sad, to, sadness is arising, we create distance and freedom. Compassion also plays a crucial role in transforming negativity. Many negative emotions, anger, resentment, and jealousy, stem from inner pain. Instead of reacting with more anger, we bring self-compassion into the moment. Recognizing that all beings suffer softens our hearts, allowing us to move from reaction to understanding. Gratitude is another powerful antidote. When caught in negative thinking, we can consciously shift our focus to appreciation. A simple practice is listing 3 things we are grateful for each morning. Over time, this rewires the brain to focus on what is good rather than what is lacking. Finally, negativity weakens when we stop feeding it. The more we dwell on resentment, replay past hurts, or engage in negative self-talk, the stronger these patterns become. But if we cultivate positive emotions through meditation, kindness, and awareness, negativity naturally fades away. By practicing awareness, compassion, and gratitude, we reshape our minds, cultivate clarity, and create an unshakable sense of peace. Transforming negative emotions is not about suppressing them but about learning to meet them with awareness and wisdom. Through mindfulness, compassion, and conscious redirection, we develop a mind that is resilient, peaceful, and full of positivity. In a world driven by competition and comparison, the Buddhist practice of mudita, or sympathetic joy, offers a powerful way to cultivate a positive mindset. Instead of feeling envy or resentment when others succeed, we learn to genuinely rejoice in their happiness. This shift not only strengthens relationships but also brings deep inner peace. Many of us have experienced the sting of comparison, seeing someone else achieve something we desire and feeling inadequate or envious. Buddhism teaches that this mindset creates unnecessary suffering, reinforcing a sense of separation and lack. However, when we cultivate mudita, we move from scarcity to abundance, recognizing that another person's happiness does not take away from our own. The Buddha described mudita as one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or sublime states, alongside loving-kindness, metta, compassion, karuna, and equanimity, upekkha. Just as we practice compassion for those who suffer, we can train ourselves to feel genuine joy for those who thrive. The more we celebrate others' happiness, the more joy we experience ourselves. A simple yet effective way to cultivate mudita is through intentional gratitude for others' success. Whenever we feel jealousy arising, we can shift our focus by silently wishing the other person well, saying, "May they continue to experience joy and success. May their happiness inspire others. May I find my own unique path to fulfillment." Making this a habit rewires our minds to respond with joy instead of envy. Over time, this response becomes natural, and we begin to see the world with an open heart rather than a threatened one. Another technique is mudita meditation, where we visualize a friend, family member, or even a stranger experiencing happiness and allow ourselves to feel their joy as if it were our own. This practice dissolves feelings of competition and creates a deep sense of interconnectedness. Mudita also reveals an essential truth: happiness multiplies when it is shared. Celebrating a loved one's success brings joy to both them and us because joy is not a limited resource. When we embrace mudita, we free ourselves from the toxic cycle of comparison and cultivate a mindset where happiness is abundant and shared. At its core, mudita is about letting go of the illusion of separation. Instead of seeing life as a competition, we recognize that we are all part of the same human experience. Someone else's success does not take away from our own, rather, it is simply another expression of life's beauty. By practicing mudita daily, through meditation, mindful reflection, and the conscious celebration of others, we shift from scarcity to abundance, resentment to joy, and competition to connection. This is one of the greatest secrets to a truly positive and fulfilling life. Another profound teaching in Buddhism that enhances positivity is impermanence, anicca, the understanding that everything in life is constantly changing. While this may seem unsettling at first, as we often seek stability by clinging to relationships, possessions, or even emotions, Buddhism teaches that embracing impermanence is the key to true peace and positivity. When we resist change, we create suffering by attaching ourselves to people, experiences, and identities, fearing their loss. However, when we accept that everything is in flux, we stop struggling against the natural flow of life. Instead of fearing change, we learn to ride its waves with grace. Nature provides the perfect example: no season lasts forever, and no flower stays in bloom indefinitely. The same is true for our emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. When we truly understand this, we stop over-identifying with temporary feelings. If we are sad today, we remind ourselves that sadness, like the seasons, will pass. This shift in perspective allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with greater balance and positivity. Impermanence also teaches us to cherish the present moment because nothing lasts forever. Every experience is precious, and instead of rushing through life, we learn to pause and appreciate what is here now: the laughter of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the taste of a meal. This awareness naturally fosters gratitude and joy. One of the greatest sources of suffering is clinging to things that are bound to change, such as a job, a relationship, youth, or status. The Buddha compared this to trying to grasp water in our hands: the tighter we hold, the faster it slips away. But if we hold life gently, knowing that everything is temporary, we find freedom and lightness. A simple practice to embrace impermanence is daily reflection on change, reminding ourselves that everything is temporary, both joy and sorrow. Instead of fearing endings, we learn to appreciate beginnings. Instead of clinging, we learn to flow. Impermanence also reminds us to let go of grudges and regrets. If everything is constantly changing, why hold on to past pain? Recognizing that both we and others are in a state of transformation makes forgiveness easier. We stop defining ourselves by past mistakes and instead allow room for growth. Ultimately, embracing impermanence does not lead to despair, it leads to freedom. When we stop fearing change, we open ourselves to new possibilities, deeper gratitude, and an unshakable inner peace. True transformation occurs not through intellectual understanding alone but through consistent practice. Just as the body grows stronger with exercise, the mind becomes more resilient through the repetition of healthy habits. Every day presents a new opportunity to train the mind, to observe our thoughts without reacting impulsively, practice gratitude by focusing on abundance, choose kind words for ourselves and others, and take a deep breath before responding to challenges. Everything we have explored leads to one fundamental truth: your mind shapes your reality. While we cannot control every circumstance, nor prevent challenges, losses, or unexpected changes, we can control how we interpret our experiences, how we respond to difficulties, and how we grow from them. In Buddhism, positive thinking is not about forcing happiness or denying difficulties. It is a deep and intentional practice of training the mind to see reality with clarity, let go of suffering, and cultivate peace and happiness that do not depend on external circumstances. If we want these teachings to truly shape our lives, we must apply them daily. Small actions create big changes. Taking a few moments each day to observe our thoughts without judgment, practicing gratitude for what we have rather than focusing on what is missing, and choosing kind words for ourselves and others all contribute to a positive, resilient mindset. Transformation begins in the mind, and the decision to start is in our hands. By integrating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom into our daily lives, we move closer to true happiness, one that is not dictated by external circumstances but cultivated from within.